You're looking for some insight on what are nursing exams like, what are simulations, how do I prepare for my first exam, just how do I prepare for nursing school. This video is for you. Hey you guys, my name is Leah. Welcome back to my channel. This channel is all about providing motivation, clarity, and encouragement to all of you all in the nursing field or all of you all who are looking and inspiring to be nurses. This channel is for you. So if you're interested in the nursing field and want to know a little bit more, do yourself a favor and subscribe to this channel and also hit the bell for notifications so that you can be notified of all upcoming videos. And do yourself a favor and comment and let me know where you are in your nursing journey. Also, do yourself a favor and visit my stand store where you'll find nursing templates, where you'll even be introduced to my free ebook that is dedicated to new nurses. So do yourself a favor again and visit my stand store. The link will be down in the description box. So let's get into today's video. So today's video is simply preparing you for nursing school. So if you're watching this video, I assume that you have already been accepted to nursing school. So let's give yourself a hand clap, a pat on the back. You have been admitted into nursing school, and that is not an easy thing. That is a hard task, and so I commend you, and my hats go off to you all who have already been admitted to nursing school. But in order to successfully pass nursing school, this is the one thing that I wish that I knew and I wish someone would have told me, so I'm letting you all know. So the first and foremost thing is we need to establish the mental capacity or the mindset that you need to have once you have been admitted to nursing school. And I wish that someone would have told me, because I didn't know how hard nursing school will be for me. But the number one thing that you need to establish, that no matter what, that you will complete nursing school. Whether you fail a class, whether you fail exams, or whatever difficulties you may encounter during your nursing program, you need to establish that no matter what, that you will finish, and that failure is not an option. And you need to also make sure that you make nursing school your number one priority, that you will eat, sleep, and just live nursing for whatever the years that you have to complete your program, whether it be 2 years, whether it be 4 years, or however long you are in nursing school, that you will commit those years to making nursing school your number one priority. So that's the first and foremost thing, is that you need to set up a mindset that you will succeed no matter what. You need to envision yourself in your dream job. You need to envision yourself putting on your scrubs, and keep that in the forefront of your mind once you have been accepted to nursing school, because that will be the overarching theme of your entire journey through nursing school, and it will help you when you have difficult times. The next thing that I would advise once you have been admitted to a nursing school is to figure out your learning style. Only because I believe that once you get into nursing school, taking exams and basically preparing for nursing exams is unlike any other program. Nursing exams are very, very difficult if you don't understand how to take them. But the number one thing is to figure out how you actually obtain and retain information. Whether that be visual, whether you basically retain information by writing things down, whatever that way is, you need to actually basically take the information that you need to learn for your exam and transform it into that way. For example, I am a visual learner, and so how I prepare for my exams, I would literally get a whiteboard in my office, and I literally have that mind, that visual of how I used to do it. But I would be back in our spare room back in Virginia, and I would have my desk, and right next to my desk my husband put 2 big long whiteboards next to me, and for all of the diseases that I needed to learn, I would literally write everything out, from the etiology, from the signs and symptoms to the test. Everything would be written out, and I am not kidding you, but I would envision myself that sometimes during my exams when I didn't understand, or during my exams when I was unsure of an answer, I could literally go back in my mind, and there was a picture of what I actually had written down, and I could see the signs and symptoms. I could see the tests that were needed in order to understand CHF and all kinds of things. I could see BNP, and I could see the ranges, and they were embedded in my memory because I wrote them down on a whiteboard, and that's how I retain information. And it took 1.5 years of me failing exams for a little bit and struggling and not maintaining good grades to actually understand how I actually retain information. And when that unlocked in me, it was like basically everything changed. I thought that nursing school was unattainable for me, but what I had to understand was how I learned and how I actually retained information. And once I understood that, I mean, everything changed. My grades changed, how I went through nursing school, how I just basically my countenance changed and my confidence changed, because I understood that nursing wasn't as hard as I thought it was. I just needed to understand how I learned and how I retained information, and the sky was the limit from there. I was so excited. So if you are unsure what type of learner you are, I actually have put down a quiz to a link that will actually help you understand how you learn. And I suggest before you go into your first nursing lecture to actually take this exam and to understand what type of learner you are, because it will just basically skyrocket your entire nursing journey. So I will put the link down in the description box. Take this link, and before your first exam, I want you to actually figure out what type of learner you are. And then once you do that, I want you to tell me in the comments what type of learner you are, and tell me how this has helped you succeed in your nursing exams. The next thing in order to help you succeed and help you get through nursing school is to purchase a planner. I believe that actually writing things down once you're in nursing school will help you stay on top of everything, from when class times are, from your homework assignments, from when simulations are, from when clinicals, because you have so many aspects of nursing school that you need to be on top of, and no one's going to make sure that you attend everything and that you're on time. It is your responsibility. Nursing is self-directed, and your professors are not there to baby you, so get a planner, write everything down. I'm serious. From your homework assignments, from when simulations are, the times, how often you have homework assignments, your planner should look, just full of things inside. Once you get that planner, use it daily. Even write down your routines in it, how you're going to study, how often you're going to study. But have a planner, a visual planner, something that you like. Purchase a pretty planner or whatever colors you like. Purchase a planner and keep it with you daily, so that it can help you and guide you through every aspect of your nursing journey. So now we're going to actually get into the nitty-gritty of basically how nursing school is. I know you're like, Leah, I didn't ask for all that. So I just want to set you up for success, and I believe that those things will help you succeed when you actually get into nursing school. So nursing school is basically composed of so many different things, but we're going to begin at the beginning. The most important part is the didactic part of your nursing school journey, and it's basically the classroom part of your nursing school journey. And so I can only go off of my nursing school. I actually obtained a bachelor's degree, so it took me 4 years. But a main part of my nursing school course or nursing school program was the didactic part. And we had classes, I would say, dedicated every Monday, basically from 8 to 4. We had an hour lunch. So I was in basically class from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. And that was every Monday. And I believe we had like 2 separate classes during that time. But it was literally just nothing but sitting there with my professor going over PowerPoints. And I know that a lot of people are like, are you serious? Yes. I was sitting in the classroom for 8 hours, and my professor had PowerPoints, and they were going over basically nursing diagnosis, how we assess a patient's signs and symptoms of diagnosis, and so many other things. And that's basically how nursing school is. You're going to be sitting there listening to a professor. Most of the time they may be sitting down, and sometimes it may be boring, but it's your job to actually pay attention and to listen for those 8 hours, because it is imperative, because it helps you pass your nursing exam. And I will go into a little bit more of how you actually prepare for your nursing class lectures and how you can prepare for your exams in upcoming videos. But I just want to let you know that the didactic part of your classroom, just basically sitting there, and your professor will be just, sometimes it will feel like they're reading off of a PowerPoint, but it's your job to pay attention, because they will expound more than what you would get from just reading it on your own. So that's basically how that part will go. So basically, when you come into your program, you will be giving a syllabus, and in the syllabus it will outline weekly what readings you are to basically read, and it will have homework assignments also attached to it. In my program, our homework assignments were basically helping us prepare for our exams. So for instance, we were on the respiratory part of med surg, and we were dealing with so many other things like asthma. And so we had to actually go through and write down the etiology for asthma. We had to go through and write the signs and symptoms for asthma. We had to go through and write the interventions for asthma, and some of the major tests in order to diagnose a person with asthma. And so that was basically conjoined with our readings, and it's a lot of reading, you guys. And so basically that is what we did prior to class. And so the didactic portion was basically our professor sitting down with us for a few hours and going over the PowerPoint that basically went over the readings that we have already read prior to class. And so it is very long. You feel like, you know, she's basically, or he is just basically reading off the PowerPoint, and a lot of times they are. But it was very helpful because they actually had the experience of dealing with patients in that had those diagnoses. So it was your opportunity to ask any other questions and to help you tie in basically things that you were unable to tie together on your own. And so that was my part of the time where I was asking questions, that I already had questions that I had for the professor in order to help me basically understand things more so that I could pass the exam. So when you are in the didactic part of your class, it will seem long-winded, but actually it's for your benefit, and it should be the second time they're actually going over the interventions or some of the diagnosis that you will have. But I will go into this more in upcoming videos. And so that is a didactic part of your nursing program. So a major part of your nursing program will be nursing exams. Nursing exams are ultimately helping you pass your NCLEX, will be your national nursing exam that you take, enable you to practice as a nurse. And so just to forewarn you, nursing exams can be a little bit difficult. It is unlike any other exam that I have actually taken in my life, only because it forces you to actually critically think, which is what you have to actually do when you're on the floor taking care of nursing exams. Are a little tricky for a lot of people because a lot of times they are multiple choice. Majority of the time they are multiple choice, and that is actually how your NCLEX would be. And a lot of times you have, in my case, in my nursing school, we would have like paragraphs of scenarios. You would have a patient, their age, their history, their symptoms, and all that, and your job was to answer, basically provide an answer to whatever question they posed for you. I really do remember my first nursing exam. I was the oldest one in my class. I feel like I was, you know, the older person, and I should have actually passed my exam, but I failed my exam only because I was not prepared on how to actually take the nursing exams. I didn't understand until, it wasn't I didn't know the information, because you can know everything from basically what your books are telling you. You can understand the etiology, you can understand how to intervene for patients, but if you do not understand how to take the NCLEX, you will fail every exam, because again, all of the all the answers are in multiple choice, and most of the time all the multiple choice answers are correct. But your job is to basically select the most correct out of all of them. And again, I will go over this in more detail, how to effectively pass your nursing exams, in another video. But that was the most tricky part about nursing exams. So your job is to basically understand how to take nursing exams. And I would suggest that before your next test, sit with your professor one-to-one and ask them for advice on how to effectively pass the nursing exam and what you should be looking out for in regards to your nursing exams. And I always had this in the forefront of my mind when I took a nursing exam. Yes, you want a passing grade. Yes, you want to ultimately pass nursing school, but always study and know that you are retaining this information in order to adequately take care of an actual person. Do not look for just only a good grade, but make sure that you're retaining this information, because this is the information that you will actually have to remember in order to save someone's life ultimately. You'll have a code or an ERT, and you need to make sure that you're not just passing the exam, but that you're retaining this information in order to pass the NCLEX and to ultimately take care of individuals. Your nursing exams, again, will be composed of multiple choice questions. A lot of them are select all, and a lot of them, like I stated, will basically be the right answer, but your job is to select the correct answer. So another major part of the nursing program is what we call skills checkoff in my program. The skills checkoff are basically helping you to basically understand how to do some of the major skills that a nurse has to do. Skills are basically inserting a Foley catheter into a patient, actually inserting IVs, actually straight cathing a patient. And so you are learning all of your skills in order to adequately take care of patients in what we call skills checkoff. And so what you're giving is, you're giving a list of how to basically complete these skills, and you had to memorize the steps from 1 until whatever 20, and you had to basically go in. You were given a pre-assigned time with your professor, and they were sitting in their mock basically hospital, and they would say, hey, I want you to go in and insert a Foley catheter into patient A, who has such and such, who is retaining urine, and he needs help expelling his urine. And so you had to go in, and basically they will watch you, sometimes creating a stereo field and basically completing that skill. And you were actually graded on how many steps you did right versus how many you did wrong. And if you did not pass, you would basically have to go in at another time in order to actually pass. And you had to pass your skills. And so your skills, again, are like inserting Foleys, basically putting on sterile gloves, doing a manual BP, and these will help you basically to become a nurse. Next part of the nursing program is what we call simulation. Simulation is where your professor makes up basically fake scenarios that have patients who have actual medical diagnosis. You have your students or your classmates that are basically pretending to be doctors, or your professors are pretending to be doctors. You have basically an entire setup where you are actually one of the nurses and you have to actually take care of a patient. Again, you'll have doctors, you'll have respiratory therapists, physical therapists, order to actually help you take care of a patient. So you'll walk into a fake hospital room and you have a patient. A lot of times the patient will be speaking back to you, played by someone, we don't know who that is, and they will actually go through signs and symptoms, and your job is to adequately use the doctor and to use all of your orders in order to take care of your patient. It is sometimes a scary thing because basically you are going off of the skills that you may have did while you were in skills checkoff, basically manually doing a blood pressure, inserting a Foley catheter, and all these things. Your professor is sitting there watching you to make sure that you are adequately taking care of a patient. And one thing I wish that I knew before I started simulation, I used to go in there and try to think, oh my gosh, I have to do everything correctly. But what I want to release you of and to basically help you understand is that when you're in school, that is your time to just let go and to, yes, do a good job and to retain all the information, but you're learning, and anything that you don't know, you can ask. You can ask, and you do not have to have so much pressure on yourself to do everything right, you know. And I know that a lot of people say, well, you know, you walk in there, you don't know anything. I'm not saying don't prepare, but just relax and know that when you're in simulation and you're in clinicals, you have someone over you that is covering you. So if you're unsure, do not walk in there and take care of a patient and be unsure, but basically go and know that you have a resource, you have a professor, you have classmates. Lean on them for help, because that's kind of how you will be when you're in actually a nurse. You're not going to know everything and know how to do everything right, but you have resources. And so relieve yourself when you go into simulation. Yes, prepare, review your skills checkoff and how to insert Foleys and how to do IVs when you're at home. But know when you walk into simulation, it is your learning environment and your professor is there to help you. So yes, relax, relate, release. Just relax. Because I always went in there stressed out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I don't remember this. It's okay. It is okay. And I remind yourself that when you do make a mistake, you're not going to probably ever make it again, because you're going to actually embed that into your mind and you're going to remember how to do it correctly the next time. So we went over skills checkoff, we went over the didactic part of your nursing program, and we also went over simulation. And now we're going to go into clinical part of basically your nursing program. The clinical part of your nursing program also can be a little scary as well, because these are not fake patients you're taking care of like it was in simulation. This is an actual patient that may be screaming because they're in pain. You actually have a person that's diaphoretic, a patient that has low blood pressure, feeling basically hypoglycemic or hypoglycemic, who has low blood sugar, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? A lot of times when you start out in simulation, again, simulation is defined as basically walking to a hospital and actually getting assigned patients. I want you to know that when you're in a hospital, again, you will have a professor who's on the floor with you, but you will most likely be taking care of a real patient who actually has been assigned to an actual nurse, but you also may be assigned to this patient with another classmate. So you work together, and before you go into clinicals, your job, just to know, is to do research on your actual patient. A lot of times the professor has already went into the hospital and already received basically your patient's diagnosis, and they already know what's going on. So the night before, if you receive your patient's information, say for instance they have CHF, look over what the etiology of CHF is, look over the signs and symptoms of what basically a patient with CHF will have and some of the interventions, so that you can be ready, because they will be basically showing these signs and symptoms, and you want to make sure that you're actually adequately taking care of this patient. When it comes to the assessment part of a patient with CHF, look over what you need to assess. It's not just simply just a full head to toe, but be specific. If they're dealing with CHF, it is a respiratory disease. So understand, what do I need to look out for a patient that has CHF, and write that down on some little piece of paper and keep that with you. If you do not have the information prior to the day that you start clinicals, it's okay. When you get there and they actually give you your patient, look it up on your phone if you have your phone before you put it away before you get on the floor, or basically get a book that has all the basic information for all your nursing diagnosis, and keep that with you, because it will help you take care of your patient. Again, you are not alone. Do not feel scared. Walking there and understand that you're learning, and your patient will also help you as well. Is basically a real patient, and you will be utilizing a lot of skills. So look look at it as basically as a learning environment to enhance your skills, putting in IVs, inserting Foley catheters. Just be on the lookout and actually have an open mind to learn when it comes to clinicals. So just this recap, just a little bit of what we've already talked about. Basically establish the mindset that you have to have in order to adequately successfully pass your nursing program. I admonish you to adopt the mindset that by any means necessary that you will pass nursing school, and actually envision yourself whenever you have those low moments of actually putting on your favorite scrubs and going to your desired specialty and working in your dream unit. Also, to basically purchase a planner that will help you stay on track of your weekly and your daily routines. I admonish you to actually figure out what type of learner you are that will help you actually retain the information that you are getting in your didactic part of your program. I admonish you to prepare before you go into your basically nursing lecture. I know it's long-winded, but prepare before you go in to make sure that prior to actually starting your nursing lecture that you've already went over the information, so that when your teacher is actually going over in your nursing lecture, that it's the second time that you actually are hearing and going over this information. Next, preparing you for skills checkout. It will be kind of tedious memorizing all those steps, but it's important because it's preparing you to be the great nurse that you will eventually be. Also, wanted to admonish you that when you go into simulation, to just relax. It is a learning environment. You're learning on how to be a nurse. You don't have to know everything all at once, but actually rely on your classmates to help you and to know that you're actually not taking care of real patients, but to just chill and to know that it's a learning environment to help you actually adequately take care of your future patients. When you go into clinicals, you will have real patients, but they basically are there to help you to become the great nurse that you will eventually be. So utilize all resources that you have, basically learn as much as you can, and remember your patients will always help you in a lot of times, and rely on your professor and your classmates and the actual nurse that you have been assigned to. Prioritizing and getting everything done during your nursing program, it can be stressful, but try to find ways to make things easier. Sign up for Instacart to basically deliver your groceries. Get a sitter once a week for your children if you're able to, so that you can actually commit as much as you can to your nursing program. And I want to admonish you that once you are basically going through your nursing program, envision yourself being a nurse, because you will make it. You will make it, you guys. And I know that sometimes you will have difficult moments, but you can make it, and I'm here to help you through this nursing journey. So I don't know where you are in your week, but I pray that you have a wonderful week, and I see you guys in my next video. Bye.